Hello, Lucy. Hi, Johnny. Good morning, Ian.
Good morning to you, one and all.
Oh, it's so great to see everyone. Hi, Ben Marley. Yes, well, talk about, and I can even twizzle around now, and you can see it.
Yes, wonderful. Thanks to the salt and pepper shakers. Really handy.
The sunflowers.
Are they? I thought they were actually, I haven't even bothered looking in there. Oh, yeah.
Got to work out how to grow them. That's why I need some gardening tips from everybody. Okay, it's 9:15.
So we are very grateful to our friends at the Esters, Ben and the team.
Ben and Sarah,
And
yeah.
Sarah.
Hi, Matt Wood. Morning, Dunk. Hello, Dean.
Morning. Yeah, we're very
And
grateful.
John Stubbs. Oh,
As
sorry.
you can see, we've
What does yours say on the
got
background?
purple. It says, I love purple.
Esther's Crew, yours says.
What's yours say?
Don't know.
This is the same thing. Oh, Esther's TV.
Oh,
Oh, you got the TV one. That's cool, isn't it?
it is.
I suppose that probably sums up how it's been, isn't it? Really, you're the star, and I'm the lackey that goes around doing all the jobs.
Yes,
Yeah.
sort of.
But did you get your acceptance speech for our? We obviously won some hearts and minds. Even though Ricky Gervais once said no one cares more about your award than you, I do disagree when you've actually got it. It's very, very good, isn't it?
It's very heavy.
Yeah. Thank you very much, by the way, because it worked perfectly to knock Sarah out last week, which was handy. So thank you for that. It's nice that we're touching the hearts and minds of the nation. And obviously it's all about sharing and caring, right? Or sharing is caring. So it's nice that we feel loved, even though we're remote part of the country. It's nice people to think about us. So thank you very much indeed for organising that. It was lovely.
And Sarah's on now. Yes, thank you,
Thank
Sarah.
you very much, Sarah. And let's hope that when we do come out of this lockdown and we can all get back to normality and
we can all go to the Esters.
yeah, absolutely right. It's one
Right.
of the most important ones. In fact, it's the only really important one
Well,
because it's
there's a
all
lot changing
about
there.
the customer, isn't it? That's the point.
There's a lot changing there as well. At
And
the moment,
I've told
which
you
is
for
exciting.
so many years, those of you that know me will have heard me go on like a stuck record about the importance of putting the customer at the heart of what you do and building your business around your customers. And that's it's never been more important ever before than right now,
No,
I think.
absolutely.
So anyway, let's get started, shall we?
We better have,
I've
yes.
got some breaking news. On how to make your own sausage and egg McMuffin exactly the way they do it. And who doesn't like, apart from vegans, who doesn't like a sausage and egg McMuffin, right?
That is quite unbelievable.
It's
That's
never happened
like-
before. It's
Yeah.
like the family silver, isn't it? It's like giving away the family silver.
Like KFC would not share their
Finger licking recipes.
No.
really, just
Oh,
put that
what's
on.
happening,
Well,
Brian?
because I was just going to give you the recipe, really. I won't go through the method because we haven't got enough time. We'll probably, if people want to comment, I'll share the recipe. But you need an English muffin, obviously. Yeah. You need 75 grams of sausage meat, eggs, American cheese slice, and potato.
Has it got potato in it?
Yeah, hash brown, right?
Oh yeah.
Have you never had a sausage and egg muffin?
No.
Haven't lived, love. Never lived, loved.
I do miss the McFlurries.
Yeah, you would do. Okay, so what other bit of good news we got? That Nationwide?
Yeah, I did
Was
share
positive?
this on the group
Have you?
on Saturday, but just in case any of you didn't see it or didn't read it, Robert Gardner, the chief economist of Nationwide, has come out and said that obviously before we went into lockdown, house prices were on the up. The market was extremely buoyant, and the stats are all in the document on the group. But similarly, he's also said that he believes that the measures that are being put in place by the government are going to mean that we have, and his words, a strong rebound when we come back.
Okay.
Which is absolutely fantastic news.
Well, I would counter the word strong rebound with a tsunami of buyers swarming out the country like a plague.
I probably wouldn't
All across
say that.
No, that's probably the wrong thing to say.
Yeah, I'd probably
sorry,
avoid
reverse
plague
that. Yeah,
or
no,
swarming.
bad choice. I watched World War Z the other night, so bad choice of words. But I think there'll be a tsunami of people coming out, a whole load of pent up demand. Not to mention, I think the number of people that will probably want to move house anyway on the back of this that weren't probably in the market this year. That would now be in the market. That tends to happen, right? Baby boom's going to be a classic. You're going to get birth. You're going to get divorce. I won't mention the others because it's not obviously appropriate. but you're going to get debt, unfortunately. And you're going to get, obviously, new opportunities
Hey,
coming
listen.
up. More people wanting to work from home, I think.
I think so.
And then realise that they can't do it in the kitchen, so they need a bigger space. So I think it's going to be a really, really big bounce back on this. And so this is all about prep time right now, isn't it? Planning and getting prepared.
As we head into this third week, I think the reality of the situation that we find ourselves in is it's hard, right? It's been a tough weekend. You know, you can't be chipper and happy all of the time, but you push on through. But ultimately, we are going to get through this, and that's what we're really focused on, aren't we? And looking ahead at what will happen to the market. I had a great conversation with Louisa Fletcher late last week, who's a very well-known presenter and journalist, and she was saying, you know, the overwhelming...
stories for me.
Yeah, the overwhelming... Well, actually, she was looking for a story. I won't say any more about that. The discussion point was largely around the fact that people are going to be looking to move and change their living habits.
Yeah.
And if there's more remote working taking place, people are not going to necessarily need to be in their flat in central Manchester or their flat in London or whatever it might be.
Yep.
They might be able to live a little bit further outside.
Yep.
So there's just going to be probably a shift in the whole of society in the way they conduct themselves.
Yep.
And I think that's something to look really positively at, not negatively at, is the message, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, I think we've gone through the whole panic crisis. Oh my God, what we're going to do? We're in the third week now. I mean, 3 weeks, Jesus. I mean,
and he's still alive.
Yeah, it's tough, right? But third week. So, what's our top tips for today?
So we're not going to get into that. We're not going to start deciding which side of the fence we are.
We're Switzerland, aren't we? I told you we're Switzerland and all of these things.
We are, but as always, and as we always do with our clients, we will only ever guide you on what we would do if we had our estate agency business right now.
Yep.
And so it seems really pertinent to talk about virtual MAs or valuations if you're still in the old school. I know, it's just I know.
Banned word.
So ultimately, what we wanted to just quickly give you were some tips that we have put together on how best to approach virtual MAs. Some of you will already be hosting them, and if you are, please put some stuff in the comments, because it'd be great for you to share it with the rest of the group, the real life.
Yeah, when Ben put some stuff in about some video stuff earlier on, which is really good. Ben Moore did,
he's
big
top
shout out
guy.
to Ben, which is really good.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot to learn from things like that. The more, this is what the whole point of this group is, to share good advice, good information.
Yeah.
So okay, so what are your let's make sure we're on time today.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
What are your points?
I think first things first is work out how you're going to do it step by step.
Yeah, you don't want to just go, do you want your house, appraised online, right? And you in your dressing gown with your kids running around behind you and that sort of stuff.
But also how you manage, we all talk about setting an agenda when we get on an actual physical marketplace. You kind of got to do the same on a virtual.
It's no different, right?
But I think it should form part of the pre-contact before you actually have the meeting. Treat it like a meeting, and so that the customer knows what to expect. So give them Brian had a great idea.
Mm-hmm. I do all the time.
Using Lucid Chart, if any of you haven't come across it, well, it's our recommended piece of tech for today as well. And so that you build basically a little step-by-step flow chart so that the customer knows what's going to happen, what they need to do, i.e., make sure you've got your phone, make sure all the lights are on in your house, make sure they're ready to talk to you, make sure they've got their bloody camera switched on, those sorts of things, right? But provide a written guide to your customer is point number one, I think.
Yeah, and Lucid Chart is a really easy piece of tech to use, but it's software. It's a website that helps you create flow charts, diagrams, infographics, that sort of stuff. It's a really cool bit of kit.
Yeah.
And if I can use it, then anyone can, really.
Yeah, it's really easy to use. Great. The second point is set up your tech. As those of you who joined us on the very first day will know, Brian and I were unprepared for doing these sessions and had a complete tech disaster. So to avoid that, set up your tech, i.e. get your tripod, get your lighting. We've got big studio lights, but there's loads of those light rings that I've seen some agents with. They're cheap as chips off Amazon and you can still get them.
Well, you can get some to clip on your phone.
You can, but make sure your lighting is right. You need to have your face pretty in lighting. And test it with your colleagues. So do a trial market appraisal on your colleague's house before you start trying to do it first time for a customer.
Yeah.
Okay, that's number two. Question number three. Not question number three. I thought we were at the quiz again. Point number three.
Yeah.
Prep like a normal market appraisal.
Yeah, I mean, keep the discipline is the point, right?
Discipline.
I mean, this is the thing. Even though we're working from home and not working in offices, we mustn't lose the disciplines that we've spent years perfecting, years working in. There are, when you're in a time of uncertainty and a big time of change, there's a habit of, well, let's look at everything. But actually, we talked before, I think about back to basics. We mustn't forget the really good bits that we do that are brilliant.
Absolutely.
So, keep yourself in training, keep yourself ready for when we go back, keep the discipline of structured market appraisals, the right information.
I would argue as well, Brian, that...
You would argue? Makes a hell of a change, doesn't it?
I've not had wine, I've only had coffee. No, but I would argue actually that it's more important in a weird way, because you're not going to have that opportunity to build face-to-face rapport in someone's home.
Okay, here's a question.
So therefore you need to have done all of your prep beforehand.
Would you suggest then to our audience that they should suit up for appraisal if they are the suit wearing type?
Well, you know how I feel about suits.
That wasn't the question.
Okay, no, I wouldn't.
Okay, so what would you avoid? What would your tips be?
Well, obviously you're not going to be in your dressing gown. You might wear your Estes t-shirt, but you're not. You're going to. I would say smart casual. I don't think anyone expects somebody to be wearing a suit. I actually noticed some of the politicians the other day wearing a full suit and tie in their back bedroom, and I thought,
it looks a bit fake.
You look like
it?
an idiot, actually.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. Sorry,
well, they do anyway, most of them.
Yeah, but it just it's not what the whole world understands what lockdown means. So we're quite, I think, just smart.
People are prepared for it, yeah.
Decent
you could
shirt.
see the end of suits, right?
I had this conversation with somebody the other day.
Could see the end of suits.
Silky PJs, it's the way forward.
No.
Okay, so prep like normal, and when I'm talking about that, get your home search reports ready if that's
Swift
what you
reports
use.
If you want to use instead,
make sure you're using your, if you're still on the portals, make sure you're preparing comparables, make sure you're preparing comparables from your own CRMs and everything else that you use for prep. Okay, so that was number 3. Number 4, practice using screen share so that you can use said reports on the appointment. Okay, so practice using screen share. You want to make it as smooth as possible because you want to give the confidence and the trust to the client by demonstrating how good you are at using your tech.
You don't really want to be like, can you see that report there, that comparable there? I really like that one. You kind of want to be putting it on the screen and using that. So that's going to take practice for those of you that aren't familiar with that sort of tech, but really important to do that. It shows you in a whole new level of professionalism as well, actually.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, a lot of people that you'll be speaking to have probably figured it out themselves as well by now.
Yeah.
So you look a little bit incompetent if you don't do that.
Correct.
It's not
Absolutely.
the new norm.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Yeah, what else?
Obviously, point number 5 was just make sure you've got the order of play, but that links into providing your step-by-step guide. Katie Finch, just to answer your question, it's Lucid Chart. I will put it all in the notes afterwards. LUCID chart.
So for those of you that speak English, chart.
And
Chat.
finally, as you would with a normal market appraisal, agree the follow-up strategy. And again, never more important, because actually we're not bringing properties to the market right now necessarily. So it's very important that we agree when, how and what it looks like in terms of a property starting to be marketed. So make sure that you're very, very clear on the follow-up strategy.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was thinking about this a lot actually, ready for today. And the question would always be, when should I come to the market?
When would you like your first viewings?
Yeah, okay, but unless you're a certain estate agent up here, then you wouldn't be doing it right now, would you? So the point I'm going to make is actually you've got to make that decision yourself. Every market is different. Some, and all that. But my advice is that we shouldn't be afraid doing a virtual market appraisal to actually give advice about how what jobs people should be doing around their house. Not only in terms, you've got to take into account that a lot of houses have got, they're full at the moment because everyone's at home, so they might not be as tidy. That might be what people may use as an excuse not to have a virtual appraisal because they think, oh my God, my house is messy as hell because kids and dogs and so on. But actually encourage them that you're looking beyond that, but obviously be prepared to give advice about what things that are obvious people should really spend their time doing right now. So, and one key piece of advice that is going to change everything now is be sale ready. So when you do come to the market, Mr. Seller, have all your documents in order. Okay?
Absolutely.
Because you've waited long enough. You don't want to be then sitting waiting for the conveyancing work to happen when you find them a buyer, which you're going to find pretty soon.
And I think, on that note, we'll put all our guides, our step-by-step guides in the notes as we always do.
Yeah.
If anybody needs any further advice on virtual market appraisals, then we're only at the end of the phone and we'll give you the best guidance that we can. But we talked about tonality last week, and Brian's just really triggered something in my mind, which is that rather maybe we don't call them virtual valuations or virtual MAs, maybe the tonality and the language that we should be using is just a property advice session.
Yeah.
Because then actually it encompasses you doing a market appraisal in its sort of normal form, but also you saying tips and advice about how they can improve the value of their home off the back of this. Maybe tart the garden up or something like that. Which will end
cut some trees back, bushes back, get more light in, all
Correct.
the things you know about.
Correct.
But actually, that's a really good point. If you think about the financial pressure that they're all under at the moment, and all of us are, right? This thing has reached every single industry, every single person has been touched by this situation. So people are naturally going to be a bit concerned about, their future wealth prospects, right? Some people will be brave about it and others will be a little bit concerned. So, that's why the advice on what you can do to your home to increase its value has never been more important, I don't think, than right now.
Yeah.
So now is the time to get your content focused on that, get that into your database, revisit people, get your social media posts, encourage people to take part. You might even wish to do what we're doing and host a session where people can come on and you can give general practical advice about their home, what they can do while they're at home.
I said that, excuse me, last week on a Zoom call to one of our clients. I said, you should be hosting weekly sort of sessions like this where you're talking to your community and giving them advice. An agent I spotted this week is doing a tenant advice session by Facebook Live this week. I think it's a really great idea. Anyway, we are overrunning again as always. So virtual MAs, that's our summary. We will put all the notes as usual in the group straight afterwards. So just before we finish, so first of all, tech recommendation.
It was Lucidchart, as we mentioned before.
Lucidchart, it's a desktop application, not on your mobile, really easy to use, but if you need any help or advice, we're happy to help you with that. We use it all the time. One for the kids and Matt Wood is Colourfy, C-O-L-O-R, so the American spelling, F-Y. And that is basically an enormous resource of downloadable colouring.
That giraffe was pretty unbeatable, in fairness, that Matt did. So.
It's been all over the Alexander & Co. Instagram channel this week, and I was so proud. This week's book, okay, very pertinent, I believe. I actually bought this for Brian because I'm a nice person.
Did you?
Yeah, I did actually.
I haven't read it.
Got it from... Yes, you have.
You've been reading it. Bought it for me and she's read it. All right, that's good. So I get it after you finished it.
It's Adam Grant, The Originals. And it's basically about great ideas and how to get them started. I'm going to leave that there, but seeing as we're locked down for 3 weeks, I'm fairly sure there's some usefulness in that. Free learning resource, LinkedIn have bought Lynda a few years ago, Lynda, and they've got a heap of content on there. You get 1 month free and then you have to pay, but got a month on our hands, maybe there's some stuff that you can get off there. And finally, Brian, our binge watch recommendation.
Yeah, so one of my heroes of tech at the moment is Apple, because of their Apple free TV subscription for a year. They've also just announced at the weekend that they're doing all of their channels have been unlocked to the end of May, completely free of charge. That's all their additional add-ons, which are all about £5-6 quid each. They've wiped all those fees off until the end of May. So there's monstrous amount there. Quite rightly, we watched the morning show, which we weren't going to really watch. We started watching it. It's absolutely brilliant.
It's really good. Jennifer Aniston, Steve Carell.
Yeah, it's free right now. Get an Apple TV subscription for free until next year. Watch the morning show. Really good.
Felt super relevant. And finally, I'd just like to say, we are extremely proud to accept this award for the estate agency's greatest morning meeting. Big thank you to my mum, my dad, my dog, Brian. Anyway, over and out. Thank you, the Esters, for giving us all this stuff.
Have a great day. We'll see you in the morning.
Hope you all have a lovely time.
Thank you for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.